Think about just sitting. It seems simple, doesn't it?
Yeah,
You're in a chair, maybe at a desk.
right.
But what if that chair, or, that desk wasn't just there?
Yeah.
What if it could sense you, respond?
Exactly.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Oh,
Because today on the deep dive, we're diving into something we all use every single day, furniture,
yeah.
and how it's becoming a whole lot smarter.
Yeah, we've got a really fascinating collection of recent insights here. They really dig into this whole transformation.
Hmm.
Think of these sources almost like a blueprint, Our goal is to pull out the most interesting bits about how the stuff that fills our spaces is moving way beyond just being, well, static objects.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Our mission today is to really get how furniture is shifting from being like a silent part of the background
Mhm.
to becoming an active, intelligent way we interact with our increasingly digital lives. So it's
Mm.
kind of a big shift.
It really is. And this change, it's happening all around us, often in pretty subtle ways.
Yeah.
The physical spaces we live and work in, they're becoming much more connected with the digital world.
Mm.
We're seeing the rise of what you might call hybrid spaces, where honestly, it's getting harder and harder to draw a clear line between the physical and the virtual.
And what's making that happen? I mean, obviously we've got our phones, right? They're practically extensions of ourselves now.
Totally.
And then there's this whole Internet of Things, the IoT.
Right. That's a huge driver.
Imagine your everyday objects, like having their own little digital network, constantly sharing updates, your coffee maker knowing when you're about to wake up.
Uh-huh.
And as we'll get into, your furniture is starting to join that conversation too.
It definitely is. And this growing interconnectedness, it's also being pushed by, well, how we live now.
Like remote work?
Exactly. The huge increase in remote work. That's turned our homes into these multi-purpose zones, hasn't it?
For sure. My living room is definitely my office sometimes.
Right. So the living room isn't just for relaxing. It's the home office, maybe the classroom. And this new reality, it demands a different kind of adaptability, a sort of smartness from our living spaces.
Absolutely. And you see more and more people using smart home systems anyway, controlling lights, temperature.
Yeah, voice assistants, apps.
So it just makes sense that our furniture needs to evolve too.
Yeah.
It can't just be a static piece sitting in a room that's becoming digitally aware.
So yeah, that brings us right to the main idea we're exploring today. Furniture isn't just a passive physical thing anymore. It's actually becoming an active, intelligent interface.
An interface.
Yeah, and
Wow.
that's fundamentally changing how we interact with all the technology that's kind of embedding itself around us.
Right. So it's not just about having a place to sit or, put your laptop on.
Not at all.
It's about how that chair
Mhm.
or that desk can become a point of connection. A maybe seamless way for us to engage with the digital world.
Precisely. And to really grasp this shift, we can lean on a few key ideas from different fields.
Okay.
There's human-computer interaction, HCI. That gives us principles for designing things that are, easy and efficient for people to actually use.
Makes sense.
Then there's ambient intelligence, or AMI. That's this idea of our surroundings being smart and responsive, almost like the digital intelligence just blends into the background.
Subtle tech.
Kind of. And finally, embodied interaction. That looks at how our physical bodies and the space around us really shapes how we interact with technology. It's not just screens and keyboards.
Okay, so it's not just about, like you said, sticking a screen on a table. It's
Oh.
much more thoughtful.
Exactly.
You're saying we need to design this smart furniture with our needs. First, that's the HCI bit.
Right. User-centered.
And then make sure it can tap into the intelligence of the room it's in. That's the AMI part.
Exactly. It's an integrated approach. And within this framework, furniture can act as this physical digital interface in a few ways.
Okay, like how?
Well, first, it can be an input device. Think about just touching a specific spot in your coffee table to dim the lights,
Oh, okay.
or maybe making a gesture that's picked up by a tiny sensor in a shelf. Even subtle things, like how you shift your weight in your chair, could potentially provide input to some system.
Wow, okay. So even something I do kind of unconsciously could trigger an action.
It's definitely within the realm of possibility, yeah. Pressure sensors are getting quite sophisticated. Secondly, furniture can be an output device. So imagine a mirror that displays your morning news headlines.
Right, I've seen concepts like that.
Or lights built into your nightstand that subtly change color when you get an important notification, maybe.
Okay.
Or speakers embedded in your headboard that gently wake you up with sounds. And then there's haptic feedback. Maybe your desk gives a little vibration to remind you, hey, time to stand up.
That sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie. But, okay, I can see it. Input, output, what else?
And thirdly, it can be an interaction platform, sort of a central control point.
Like a hub.
Kind of. A smart kitchen island, for example, could let you manage your smart appliances, play music, maybe even video call your family all from its surface.
Right, right. So it's all about making that connection smoother, isn't it, with our phones being so central. The physical things around us kind of need to bridge that gap, work with the digital world more naturally. Which brings us back to those hybrid connected spaces you mentioned.
Precisely. What's fascinating here is the potential for everyday furniture, something we already intuitively know how to use physically, right?
Right.
A chair is a chair.
Yeah, pretty basic.
But it could also become this really sophisticated digital interface. It makes interacting with technology feel less like, fiddling with a gadget and more like just interacting naturally with your environment.
So we're moving beyond just tapping and swiping on a glass screen all the time.
Yeah.
What are some of the other, maybe more theoretical ways this smart furniture could interact?
Yeah, we can look at a few conceptual models. One is this idea of furniture as a silent partner.
Silent partner, okay.
Imagine the technology is so well integrated that the interaction feels almost invisible, like that gesture control on the tabletop we talked about.
Right.
It feels natural, intuitive, not like you're consciously operating a machine.
Almost like it's anticipating what you need before you even ask.
In a way, yes, or at least making the interaction effortless. Another idea is furniture as an ambient display.
Ambient, like in the background.
Exactly. Instead of having to deliberately look at a screen for information, your furniture could give you subtle cues, sort of in your peripheral vision. Like maybe your bedside table gently glows brighter as your alarm time gets closer.
Ah, I like that.
Or perhaps a shelf changes color subtly if you have a new important email, or based on the weather forecast. Information that's just there without demanding your full attention.
That sounds a lot less distracting than my phone buzzing constantly.
It could be, yeah. And then there's the concept of furniture as a tangible user interface, or TUI.
TUI. Tangible, so physical.
Yes. This uses actual physical objects to represent and control digital information. Think about placing, say, little physical tokens on a smart table to organize your digital files. Or maybe turning a physical dial that's built right into your desk to adjust the volume of your music. It taps into our natural instinct to manipulate physical things.
So it's bringing the digital world into the physical in a very direct, hands-on way.
You got it. And tying this all together with the growth of the Internet of Things, furniture is also becoming a significant data collector and transmitter.
Ah, right, the data aspect.
Exactly. Imagine chairs that track how you're sitting, your posture, how long you've been seated. Beds that monitor your sleep patterns, maybe even things like your heart rate or breathing. Desks that sense, if you're present, what the room temperature is, humidity.
Wow. My furniture could end up knowing a lot about my habits. Maybe more than I do.
That's definitely the potential, yes. And this data, it could then be used within your smart home network to create personalized interventions or experiences.
Like what?
Well, for example, your desk might automatically adjust its height if it notices you've been sitting slouched for too long.
Huh. A nudge from my desk.
Sort of. Or your smart lighting adjusting based on activity patterns sensed by the furniture. It connects to these broader concepts like ubiquitous computing UbiComp, where computation is just seamlessly embedded everywhere.
Right.
And cyber-physical systems, where the digital and physical processes are tightly integrated. Your furniture becomes a key part of your personal digital habitat.
Here's where it gets really interesting for me. This idea of our furniture almost silently understanding and responding to us. It feels like our homes are genuinely becoming these intelligent ecosystems.
It does. But, this raises an important question. It's about the balance, isn't it? How do we weigh the convenience and potential benefits against, well, the feeling of technology just fading too much into the background? How do we keep it helpful, not creepy or intrusive?
That's a really key point, yeah. Okay, let's shift a bit. Let's think about how this new role for furniture is changing the actual spaces we live and work in. It's not just about what the furniture does anymore, right? It's how it changes the way we organize our environments.
Exactly. That's a huge part of it. One really important trend is modular and flexible furniture.
Yeah. Things you can move around easily.
Right. Because in these hybrid spaces, a single room often needs to serve multiple purposes. So think about furniture that can easily transform a sofa that folds out properly into a comfortable bed, not just a lumpy couch.
We've all been there.
Or a desk that can be neatly tucked away when work is done, a table with adjustable height for sitting or standing, or for kids versus adults. This kind of adaptability is becoming, well, almost essential.
So a guest room can actually become a functional home office just by, reconfiguring the furniture for the day.
Precisely. And furniture is also playing a bigger role in defining different zones within these hybrid spaces.
Zoning. How so?
Well, in a home that's also an office, the way you place a specific type of desk and maybe an ergonomic chair can help create a dedicated workspace mentally, even if it's in the corner of the living room.
Right, signaling work time.
Yeah. And the rest of the room remains for relaxation. In open plan offices, you see things like movable acoustic partitions or furniture designed to absorb sound, creating quieter areas for focused work versus more open spaces designed for collaboration.
It's like the furniture itself is helping to define the function, the purpose of different parts of a room, dynamically even.
It really is. And thinking about hybrid work and learning environments, furniture is absolutely crucial for enabling good collaboration.
How does that work when people are in different places?
Well, think about how tables and chairs are arranged in a meeting room. The design needs to make sure that people who are physically present and those joining remotely can all participate effectively.
Yeah, no one likes feeling like they're just a head on a screen at the end of the table.
Exactly. So technology can be built into the furniture cameras, microphones, speakers to make sure everyone can see and hear clearly. And furniture that can be easily moved around allows teams to quickly adapt the space for different kinds of group work or presentations.
So it's not just about how we use furniture individually anymore. It's becoming about how it helps us connect and work together,
Yeah.
even when we're not, physically in the same spot.
Definitely. And beyond just organizing the space, smart furniture also has this potential to actively influence our habits and maybe even improve productivity or well-being.
Like the desk reminding you to stand.
Yeah, that's a common example.
Mm.
Or chairs providing real-time feedback on your posture.
In learning settings, you could imagine interactive furniture providing prompts to guide students through certain activities or simulations. We're starting to see the concept of high-impact spaces emerge, especially in workplaces areas specifically designed with tech-rich, adaptable furniture to really foster creativity and collaboration.
So yeah, we're seeing clear examples now of furniture actively promoting well-being, productivity. It's going way beyond just being a surface or a place to sit. It's becoming like a proactive part of our daily lives. If we connect this to the bigger picture, yeah, we see furniture taking on a much more active role in shaping our daily routines, our interactions, even our physical health. It's no longer just this passive backdrop. It's becoming an active participant.
Okay, so furniture is getting smarter, it's more adaptable, it's even influencing our behavior.
Yeah.
But how does it actually connect us to the digital world? How does it act as that gateway you mentioned earlier?
Right, the access point.
Yeah.
Well, one of the most common ways, and maybe the simplest, is through built-in charging ports, USB, wireless charging pads.
Oh yeah, lifesaver. No more searching for a free outlet or that charging brick.
Exactly. It's simple, but incredibly useful, just keeping our devices powered up easily. Then you have things like integrated speakers and displays becoming more common.
Right, built into mirrors or tables.
Yeah, giving us easy access to media, information, notifications, without needing yet another separate device cluttering things up.
Keeps the space cleaner.
It does. And voice control is becoming huge here, too.
Talking to your furniture.
Well, yeah. Imagine being able to adjust the height of your bed or turn on an integrated reading lamp just by speaking to it. This integration with smart home assistants like Alexa or Google Assistant makes interacting with our environment feel much more intuitive, more hands-free.
Okay, give us some more real-world examples so we can really picture this stuff.
Sure. Think about those adjustable standing desks you can control with an app, or maybe even preset heights triggered by your voice.
Okay, yeah.
Smart beds are another big one. They can track your sleep quality.
We mentioned the data.
Right, and they might automatically adjust the firmness or even gently raise your head if they detect snoring.
Wow.
And smart mirrors, they're definitely moving from concept to reality, showing you the weather, your calendar, maybe letting you control other smart devices in your bathroom or bedroom while you're getting ready.
Smart mirrors still sound a bit like the future, but okay, they're coming.
They are. And we're also seeing other convenience features, like adjustable headrests and integrated lights in sofas and armchairs for personalized comfort. Even small things like light-up cup holders in home theater seating, or power-lift recliners for accessibility, and smart storage like cabinets or drawers that open automatically with a gesture or voice command.
So it really boils down to making things more convenient, more
Yeah.
seamless, less clutter from wires and gadgets, more intuitive control. It's about making all this technology blend into our lives more easily, feel less like work.
Exactly. What's fascinating here is just how quickly everyday furniture is becoming the central point of access for our digital lives, often in ways that feel very natural and hopefully unobtrusive.
Okay, so if we're going to have all this smart interactive furniture around us, designing it well seems crucial. How do designers actually approach creating it effectively? It can't just be about, stuffing some sensors and a battery into an old chair design, can it?
Absolutely not. No, designing good, smart furniture requires a really different way of thinking, moving beyond just traditional aesthetics in construction.
So what are the key things?
Well, intuitive and natural interaction is paramount. It should feel familiar. Using gestures or voice commands that people might already understand, or interactions that are just obvious from the form of the furniture itself, minimizing the learning curve.
Right. You shouldn't need a tech degree just to, I don't know, turn on the lamp built into your side table.
Precisely. Secondly, the technology needs to be integrated seamlessly and ideally aesthetically pleasing. It shouldn't be an ugly add-on. It should be part of the design, almost invisible until you use it.
Okay.
And the main focus really should always be on functionality and genuine user needs. The smart features should actually enhance tasks or solve real problems, not just be tech for tech's sake.
So it's about solving real problems, making life easier or better, not just adding fancy gimmicks.
Exactly right. It also needs to be easy for everyone to use. Thinking about accessibility for diverse users, different ages, different tech comfort levels, different physical abilities, maybe offering multiple ways to interact.
Good point.
And finally, clear feedback and user control are vital. When you interact with a smart feature, you need immediate confirmation that it worked, and users should feel in control, able to easily customize settings or turn features off if they want.
So it sounds like good smart furniture design isn't just about adding the technology, but about making that technology feel natural, almost invisible sometimes, and genuinely helpful. It should sort of disappear when you don't need it and be right there intuitively when you do.
That's a great way to put it. These principles often draw from understanding affordances, how an object suggests use using clear visual cues, and really understanding the diversity of the people who will actually be using this furniture.
Now, this all sounds really exciting, I have to say. But there have got to be some challenges, some bumps in the road as we move towards this smarter furniture future. What are some of the hurdles we need to think about?
Oh, there are definitely a few significant ones. One big one is simply the cost.
Right, more tech usually means more expensive.
Exactly. Smart furniture often costs quite a bit more to manufacture than traditional furniture because of all the integrated electronics, sensors, software.
And that could make it harder for a lot of people to actually buy it, to access these benefits.
It could, yeah. Creating a bit of a digital divide, potentially. Another major consideration is privacy and data security. We touched on the data collection.
Yeah, my chair knowing my posture.
Right. Users need to be comfortable with what data is being collected and absolutely confident that it's secure. Any breaches could be really damaging.
Hmm, that's a big one. What else?
Compatibility can be an issue. Does this smart table work with my existing smart home system? Or is it locked into its own separate app or ecosystem? Interoperability is key.
Like needing 5 different apps to control your living room. Not ideal.
Not ideal at all. Then there's the question of longevity and maintainability. Unlike a regular chair that might last decades, smart furniture has electronic components.
That gets outdated fast.
It does. What happens when the software is no longer supported or a sensor breaks? Is it repairable, upgradable, or does the whole piece become obsolete?
So it's maybe a bit more of a disposable item than traditional long-lasting furniture. That has sustainability implications too.
It certainly does. And finally, just the complexity and ease of use. Even with good design, some smart features might still feel complicated or intimidating for people who aren't particularly tech-savvy. Keeping it simple is hard.
Okay, so definitely some real challenges there. Cost, privacy, compatibility, lifespan, complexity. But on the flip side, what are some of the exciting opportunities? Where's the innovation heading?
The opportunities for innovation are huge, really. We're going to see more and more seamless ways for the technology to be integrated, making it even less obtrusive. There's a growing focus, thankfully, on using sustainable materials in construction and designing energy-efficient electronic components.
That's good to hear.
And the potential for furniture that's incredibly customizable and personalized to our individual needs and preferences is really significant.
Furniture that really learns and adapts to you. That sounds pretty amazing, actually.
Imagine furniture that proactively adjusts based on your habits, your health data, the time of day. The integration of artificial intelligence and machine learning will likely lead to much smarter, more predictive and adaptive features like that.
Oh.
We'll also probably see exploration of new interaction modalities beyond just touchscreens and voice, more sophisticated gesture control, maybe tangible interfaces becoming more common.
Hmm.
Plus, the overall market for smart furniture is projected to grow substantially, driven by things like increasing urbanization, the continuation of remote work, and just a general demand for multifunctional solutions in smaller living spaces.
So it feels like, while there are definitely hurdles to overcome, the potential for innovation and the market pull are really strong. The future here sounds pretty exciting.
Absolutely. But that brings us back to maybe the most critical challenge, or at least the one with the deepest implications. The ethical side, particularly privacy.
Right. We talked about data collection posture, sleep, presence. What else can this furniture potentially gather?
Well, depending on the sensors, it could be activity patterns within the home, potentially health metrics beyond sleep, like heart rate variability, environmental conditions like air quality monitored by sensors in a desk or shelf. It's a pretty wide range.
And the main concern is, what happens to that data?
Exactly. Concerns about data breaches, unauthorized access, data being sold or used in ways the user didn't agree to. Transparency is crucial here. Users need to know exactly what's being collected, why, and who has access.
Explicit consent, not buried in fine print.
Absolutely. And effective strategies for data security are non-negotiable. Plus, giving users meaningful control over their data, the ability to view it, delete it, manage permissions easily.
Beyond direct privacy breaches, are there broader ethical things to think about?
Definitely. There's the potential for increased surveillance within our own homes, which can feel intrusive and erode our sense of autonomy.
Like feeling watched by your sofa.
It sounds odd, but yeah, that underlying feeling. There's also the risk of algorithmic bias. If the furniture is making decisions or assumptions based on data, could those algorithms discriminate against certain groups?
Okay, good point.
And even the potential impact on social interaction. If our furniture caters perfectly to our individual needs, does that subtly discourage shared experiences or compromise within a household? Does it change how we connect with each other? This raises an important question. Really, how do we balance the undeniable convenience and potential benefits of all this smart technology with the fundamental need to protect our privacy, our autonomy, and maybe even our well-being in these very personal spaces?
That seems like the central tension we need to navigate as this technology becomes more common. Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. We've covered a lot of ground.
We have. I think the key takeaway is this evolution. Furniture is clearly shifting from being just this passive, static object to becoming an active, intelligent interface within our emerging digital habitats.
Yeah, we've seen how it's taking on these new roles and mediating our interactions with technology and shaping how we organize and use our spaces, providing seamless access to digital services.
And importantly, acting as a collector and transmitter of various kinds of data about us and our environment.
Right, we've explored how it's basically redefining what furniture can be and becoming much more deeply integrated into our daily routines.
And while we've acknowledged there are definitely challenges, cost, longevity, compatibility, and especially those crucial privacy and ethical concerns,
Yeah, those are big.
the potential for creating a more seamless, convenient, and personalized living and working environment is really significant.
Ultimately, though, it sounds like the success of this whole evolution really hinges on user-centric design, focusing on real needs, and navigating those ethical considerations very carefully.
Absolutely. That has to guide the development. The key is ensuring this technology genuinely enhances our lives in meaningful and responsible ways.
So what does this all mean for you listening? Take a moment and think about the furniture around you right now. Your chair, your desk, your bed. How might it change in the coming years based on what we've discussed?
What are the possibilities you see for how you might interact differently with your home, your workspace?
And maybe most importantly, what kind of role will you actually want your furniture to play in your increasingly connected digital life? What are the trade-offs you're willing to make? Something to think about.